been a lot of discussion as to what your authority is to do some of these things that are perceived to be done. So let's just suppose a state, let's say Oklahoma, does not submit a state plan, and you develop a Federal plan for the state. How could you develop that rule using only existing authorities? Let me be specific. Under existing authorities, can you currently require a state to have gas dispatched at 70% of capacity?
Senator, you're way ahead of me. Those are considerations that aren't even on the table right now. Right now, we're looking at proposing a rule, and I have great hopes that we'll work very effectively with states.
No, I'm talking about existing authorities today. Under your authority today, could you do something like that?
Not unless this rule were passed.
Okay, that's fine. That would be no then. Under the existing authority, could you currently require a state to unilaterally restrict electricity demand by 1.5%? Under current authority?
No, sir.
Good.
Well,
and under existing authority, could you currently mandate the use of renewables in a state?
We do not.
Okay. Now, let's say that a state does submit a plan and the renewable portfolio standard does apply. I would ask you if you could enforce it.
Actually, sir, we wouldn't be requiring any of those things here. What we're requiring is a certain level of carbon dioxide emissions from electricity generated by fossil fuels. That's what EPA would be actually requiring and mandating. How the states get there is certainly their choice.
Well, but all right. But so you're saying that under current law and policies, the EPA couldn't enforce a state renewable portfolio standard, but under the ESPS rule that we're talking about, they may be able to. Is that accurate?
I'm not. That is one of the issues that we've raised because EPA often has things in state plans, some of which we enforce, some of which we don't.
Okay, but I'm saying under current law that we think we cannot, but you may be able to under the ESPS when that time.
Actually, the one certainty I have is that we will be able to enforce the amount of carbon dioxide from fossil fuel facilities if this rule goes as proposed.
Okay, well, what I'm trying to get to here, this rule would be a broad expansion of the authority that the EPA has over states that has a broad political impacts and could dramatically reshape the entire sector of the economy. Isn't that exactly what the Supreme Court ruled against in the UARG case, the expansion of authority that you would be having?
Actually, I don't think that the Supreme Court indicated that we were expanding our authority in that case. But, sir, the questions have been raised about what we do with plans and what's included and how that can be implemented, and we're working through those issues with the states. But all EPA is doing here is regulating pollution from sources that we regulate under appropriate sections.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you are proposing a rule that you don't have authority to enforce today.
No, I believe we have clear authority to do the rule as we've proposed it.
No, I'm talking about the authority you had under the current system.
I don't think we're expanding our authority with this rule, sir, no.
Well, it appears to me that you are. But in this short period of time, let me try to get this other thing out of the way. From what I understand, the EPA relied on an academic EIA study. I mentioned this in my opening statement, that about 6% of the nuclear fleet is at risk of shutting down. Then the EPA made an adjustment to the rule to help out the nuclear plants accordingly. Now, the FERC has authority under power prices, power reliability, power transmission. The question I'd ask you, did the EPA talk to anyone at FERC about the adjustment of whether the rule would actually help nuclear plants? In other words, help these 6% that we have found are going to have problems.
Actually, I don't know what direct conversation EPA might have had with FERC over the nuclear facilities.
Did you talk to FERC about these issues?
At a high level, and I know that our staff was working very closely with them and with DOE in particular in terms of our administrative actions.
Yes,
okay,
I just
I
want
know
to
your
be clear.
staff, and there's no way that you can tell me today or tell this committee what your staff was and who they talked to. But you personally did talk to someone about these issues at FERC.
We've actually been meeting with the commissioners.
No, I'm talking about you personally.
Yes,
with the commissioners.
I have had meetings with the commissioners and with NARUC and with many of the DPUC commissioners. Okay.
Thank you very much, Madam.
Thank you so much. So we're going to recess briefly, come back, and there's 0 time left on the clock.